with livestock, we are part of the essential businesses. So for the welfare of the animal, and look, the team have really taken the responsibility up first rate, and the horses are come first.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed in that respect as far as the professional attitude towards their attitude at work and the way that they're looking after their horses. And it's just that we have to keep our distance, and we have to keep it to a small team.
What was your process? Because you're based out of New Zealand, you sold horses into the Easter Yearling Sale. In this lockdown period, how did you manage that? What did you do?
Well, it was an interesting lead up to the sales. I mean, we when COVID first hit, none of us really expected that it would have reached the stage it did with shutting the borders and the horses not being able to leave New Zealand.
Yeah.
We were actually in Australia with some fellow Australian vendors and with Sledmere actually, and we're over there catching up with them. And we generally sell a number of our horses through the Sledmere drafts in Australia.
Okay.
Anyhow, we were over there on a bit of it was fun. It was a holiday, and anyhow, it came. We got the notice from the Prime Minister that she was shutting the borders the following midnight, the Sunday midnight, and so all of a sudden, our weekend of fun became a weekend of trying to get back home.
Yeah.
And the next 2 weeks, the lead up to the sales, or the next 3 weeks, it changed regularly. And we were being updated by Inglis, and they kept in contact. They were very professional about it, and the way that they were notifying us of the changes.
Yeah.
But I think the one thing that they did come out and say that, guys, possibly this will go digital, and that we're going to need a bit more intensity and a bit more descriptive with our videoing and our photography.
Yeah.
And so we certainly got that in place leading up to the sales. Unfortunately, though, our photography crew, the crew that do all our movie work, they're based in Hamilton, which is 6 hours north of here, and they weren't allowed to come down and do it. So I do have a camera here, so I did all the camera work. So look, that was interesting leading up to the sales, and once again going from a digital online bidding to a virtual sale, and I think Inglis's did the right thing by going virtual,
right?
As opposed to the digital online, and like the Inglis online bidding. Yeah. I thought the way that they conducted it was first rate. I thought the sale was phenomenal. I think it is way better and exceeded everyone's expectations. I think there are a lot of people out there that thought, well, here's an opportunity. Some of these horses may go for a lot less than what they're worth. And look, the buyers certainly picked out, they picked the eyes out of it, no doubt about it. And the big horses, the good horses, really sold well.
Yeah.
What I will say, though, that from a virtual sale and going digital, what the sale proved unanimously was that people still want to see the stock. And New Zealand, we were in total lockdown. In Australia, weren't, obviously. Yeah. So the studs, and I applaud all the studs over there for the way that they worked in with one another to help one another. Sledmere, good friends, and like I said, they've looked after our horses in the past. They offered to help us. Lime Country offered to help us. But Sledmere, they helped out Mill Park, and they Mill Park moved their horses down there, and they all catered for one another to parade the horses in front of as many agents and trainers as they could. Now, obviously, a lot of the Victorians couldn't get there, but the ones that could, they made the most of the opportunity. So what I'm saying is that the 22 horses that were supposed to leave the shores of New Zealand, that stayed here in New Zealand, we just did not get the viewings. I had one person see our horses, Bruce Perry, and I guess that I'm very fortunate that it was Bruce, because Bruce is a highly respected bloodstock agent, you know, not just in the Southern Hemisphere, but in the Northern Hemisphere as well. And so at least Bruce could give an opinion of our horses. But what it proved is that of those 22, only 2 horses sold. Now, a lot of the, you know, there were a number of horses that withdrawn, but there are a lot of horses that still went through the virtual sale that didn't even get a bid. And, you know, it proved that people still are not prepared to spend that amount of money unless they can see the horse in the flesh.
And I've spoken to people since then in Australia who have said that they've connected with Bruce. He was very detailed in the information that he provided for the horses. So I guess it boiled down to the fact that people couldn't see the horses themselves.
It did. Yeah, it did. And, you know, the 2 horses that did sell were ours. We had 5 horses entered for the sales, and we withdrew 2 horses, and we ended up selling 2 of the 3. So, yeah, of the 2 only horses that were sold were both of ours. So, look, I was, what do you put that down to? Look, I thought our 3 fillies that Little Avondale owned were 3 very, very, I loved them. All 3. They were different fillies, but I thought it was the best little wee lineup of fillies that I've ever presented as a draft to go to the sales. Our I'm Invincible filly, I withdrew her, but I thought she was possibly the most exciting filly I've ever presented to go to a sale. Now, we're about to enter 80 years. Come this coming season, it'll be our 80th year selling here in New Zealand, which puts us down as the oldest commercial stud here in New Zealand. So why did we sell 2 horses? Was it reputation? Look, I'd like to think that, you know, the reputation of the stud goes a long way with the credibility. They're 79 years selling. Bruce Perry. Bruce is a good mate. He lives just across the river. So it didn't take me much to haul his ass over here to come and see my horses. But no, you know, Bruce is, like we just said, his reputation goes a long way. And, yeah, look, 2 stunning fillies. Did they make the money that they were deserving of? Look, that's questionable. We'll never know. Look, at the end of the day, Bjorn Baker bought our Savabeel filly, a stunning filly, beautiful moving filly, got residual value there. And we know how well Savabeel's done. Bjorn's had success with Savabeel, and Jim Clark had been talking to Bruce that morning, and it was Jim doing the bidding on behalf of Bjorn, and they ended up buying the filly for, what, $220,000. So that was a great result. The Capitalist filly, Bruce made comment that he thought she was one of the best, she was the best Capitalist filly he had seen so far on the sales circuit. So, yeah, that was a big kudos coming from Bruce, and she was bought by Matthew Sandbloom after the sale, and once again, you know, look, we're absolutely wrapped that she's gone to a really good home. She's going to get every chance over there in Australia, and at the end of the day, it's about moving onwards, isn't it? And I can tell you there's another 73 weanlings in the paddock, so you can't hold on to them all.
Absolutely, you can't hold on to them all. What is the next steps? I mean, the horse, you're still under quarantine. The horses are still with you. The fillies are still with you here at the farm. So what's your process now? Will they go to the breakers from here in New Zealand?
No, they won't.
Okay.
So we put, it's like anything, you know, our name has been out there for 79 years,
right.
Our reputation. So we guaranteed with the post-sales, the pre-sale scoping and the post-sale scoping,
yeah.
we weren't able to get the vets in here with the video scope.
Wow.
So our vets have access to an endoscope, but not one with a video.
Yeah.
So we put a guarantee on the horse going into the ring that if they didn't meet the criteria of grade 1 or 2 post sale, and we entered a vet certificate with a grade 1 for the sale.
Yeah.
But after the sale, if they didn't meet the criteria of grade 1 and grade 2, we would cancel the sale, and that was on our reputation. And you know, the sale of one horse doesn't that to me, that reputation of goes a long way, because you know, you don't want to be playing games here. It's a lot of money, and your reputation is more than just one horse. So both horses were scoped the very next day.
Mm-hmm.
And they will stay here at our cost until such time as the borders open.
Okay.
And then it is up to Little Avondale to fly the horses to Australia at our cost, and we'll graze them here at our cost as well. They'll be broken in here, they'll fly to Australia for that, and hopefully the borders, you know, will be able to fly equine out in New Zealand, hopefully shortly in the near future.
That's news. So whatever else happens, at least the horses move.
The airlines don't have a problem flying horses, but the problem is they need grooms to fly with the horses.
Okay.
And that brings into question, obviously, the isolation period of when those grooms enter a different country and across the border. What happens to those grooms? So at this stage, hence there's no travel of equine. But I believe New Zealand Bloodstock and IoT are dealing with that at the moment and hoping to get some clarification from MPI whether we can hopefully start our transport up and our freight with those horses. Yeah.
Fantastic.
I think what we saw last week at Inglis's was the resilience of the industry, and that, you know, people in this industry are prepared for change. And here in New Zealand at the moment, we're going through a period with our racing where we need change. And I guess with COVID-19 here as well, it's sort of like the perfect storm. And you know, in lockdown, we're in the eye of the storm at the moment, where there is no racing, there is nothing happening. So it's how we come out of this and we enter the storm again, and our behaviour and the manner that we approach this is, I think, will determine the future of racing. I think the future of racing here in New Zealand certainly isn't going to be like what we saw in the past. And if it is, if it's the same, well, that was a model that was broken. So I think the way that this has given breeders and trainers and owners here in New Zealand the perfect opportunity to change racing and how we race horses in the future. They're still going to go around in a circuit. There's no doubt about that. But the model will be different. And I think racing is definitely going to be different in the future, but it all depends on the attitudes of people, how they approach it.